So, Mark, did you see those pictures from the United flight? The gate agent made everybody gate check all their bags, saying it was full. And then, of course, there was nothing on there. And in the gate agent's defense, she just said, hey, it's an Airbus.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense that they have to overestimate. They don't want people getting to the back of the plane, having to walk their luggage all the way up to the front, delaying everything, but it's got to be annoying. That's why I am team backpack for almost all travel. You carry it on. If there's space, throw it up there. If not, you put it under your seat. This is the way, Sean. This is how it's done.
I don't want to put my backpack up down below my seat, though. So I always put it up there. And I'm always worried they're going to tell me I have to. And it's going to be a battle. Then they're going to have to drag me off the plane. So I don't like that.
Free flights for life. No, I'm always waiting for them to say something. I'll be like, so if I brought a suitcase, then I could put it up there. I paid for this ticket. But if it's a backpack, I can't. That doesn't make any sense to me. Whatever. I would not take it down. Let's fight.
Yeah, we both have that argument already pre-selected. We're ready to go. So the last couple of weeks, we have talked about Spirit Airlines a lot, and we talked about how Mark has taken so much money away from them by buying his tickets at the airport that they are in financial trouble, and now they have officially filed for bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy, they're not going away. They're not going anywhere. This is a restructuring pre-set up with their bondholders and their debt holders. And so they are going to restructure and come out better than ever. They say the pandemic has hurt them, all the other economic impacts. We kind of saw the writing on the wall the last couple of weeks, so not a huge surprise here.
Has anybody ever gone into bankruptcy and say they're not going to come out stronger? It's just kind of like, oh, we're going to try this, but we'll probably still fail. I don't know. I'm nervous about this. I'm not going to book flights. Like, I need to get to JFK and home from JFK for my trip in the winter going to Bangkok and Singapore. And Spirit is the best option by far, price wise. I just don't want to do it because I'm worried about, they've cut routes already. They've laid off pilots. They're saying that they're going to do several hundred more layoffs. I think they're going to trim more routes. They're selling their planes. It just doesn't make me feel secure in a flight I have to make. Like if I was just going to New York for the weekend, whatever, I'd risk it. But this one that's attached to a big international flight, I'm not going to risk it because if they do, change the times of that flight or they cancel that flight or they don't have enough staffing when it comes the day of travel, I don't want to get stuck there holding the bag knowing that they can't help me out in any meaningful way because they probably don't have another flight until tomorrow or it's a connection. So I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to pay out the nose and go with Delta. And I think a lot of people are going to be in that same boat.
Now, to be fair, they do say that all your mileage is still good, your tickets are still good, and that they plan to continue it. Well, we don't have to be in limbo for too long. They say they're going to exit the bankruptcy by the first quarter of next year. So it's not going to stretch on forever. So hopefully they can get this reorganization and get some more faith, I guess, for people like you to fly them. For now, yeah, be aware of that. The only time we ever had something like this happen, my wife had, this was, 10, 15 years ago, Mexicana Airlines. She was flying back to see her mom in Acapulco, and they went bankrupt and we lost the ticket, lost everything. So it can happen. It does happen. We don't expect it to happen here, though. So hopefully Spirit can continue on. And you want that because prices are going to go up if they go away. That's the truth.
Yeah, I hope they make it through this. It's sad that JetBlue kind of put them in this position because I think the Frontier stuff would have gone through. We would have had a healthier airline. It's kind of crazy that they haven't made money since 2019 when we've seen record high prices on airlines coming out of the pandemic and travel is, going gangbusters. You think that they would be able to make money at that time. If they can't, then something is seriously wrong here. Maybe they have too much overhead, but hopefully they figure it out. We definitely need them there. We need competition with the Frontiers of the world. Allegiant just isn't big enough to do it, or all the other, like Suncoast or those small little crappy airlines.
Yeah, Sun Country. But the big thing is, if Spirit goes away, who will everybody make fun of? That's the airline everybody makes their jokes about. So nobody, somebody else will have to be their victim. Terrible. So let's move on to some credit card news. The Cap One Spark Cash offer back. It's $750 after $7,500 in spend. This card does have a $95 annual fee, but that is waived the first year. And this is a really solid welcome offer. All the caveats with Capital One, though, I don't know if we've dove into them too much, but it's hard to have more than 2 cards there. They run all your credit bureaus, and I think this also shows up on your personal credit report, unlike business cards from some other banks.
Yeah, Capital One's weird, with that. It's their charge cards like the Venture Business X and the Spark Cash Select that don't go towards your 521 count. The other business cards do get reported to personal, so they do count against 524. So this is definitely an over 524 card, but 750 bucks, 10% back plus 2% earnings is pretty hard to beat in the business realm if you have that kind of spend. And then you can turn that cash back into miles if you have a Capital One miles earning card. If your significant other, a spouse, or any family member essentially has a Capital One miles earning card, you can transition that cash back into miles, which is something they do better than anybody else. It's kind of cool to see that you can basically do this with anyone that has a Capital One card, not just your household like Chase does. Amex doesn't even give you that option. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, and I think Capital One people just overlook them, or sometimes they have these crazy spend offers too with really huge bonuses, $2,000, stuff like that. But if you have the ability to do it, it's good. And this one's sort of middle of the road, 7,500 in spend. I think for a lot of businesses, a lot more doable than the higher amounts, no annual fee, all the other stuff you said. So good stuff there. There's new offers on the Southwest cards, and Southwest is a little confusing because they have three versions of their cards, and most of the time they all have
So
the
dumb.
same welcome offer.
It's so dumb. Why do they still have the middle card?
Yeah.
It adds no purpose. Like, just get rid of it already. It's worthless. All right, moving on. Go ahead.
So the three cards, the priority, the premier, and the plus card. And like I said, they generally have the same welcome offer. So you just have to figure out what the perks are, things like Wi-Fi credit, annual points bonuses, figure out which one is best for you. And I think if you have a question about it, generally the cheapest one is best for you because don't pay for perks you're not going to use. But they have this new version of the welcome offer, 40,000 bonus points, which is super low after 3,000 in spend, but you also get a $400 statement credit. So you're actually getting money back in your pocket.
Yeah, I kind of like this offer, not for like the Southwest frequent flyer, because we usually see like a 70K or 80K offer come out around now on the personal cards. And this, the $400 is probably worth an extra 30,000. So you're in that 70K range, but low end compared to what we've seen in past years. But this opens it up to people that aren't chasing the companion pass, somebody that flies Southwest once or twice a year, and they're, at 324, 424, they're ready. They got their chase lineup. They're ready to move on. If I was that person, I would be enticed by this because I fly Southwest once or twice a year. Now I'm getting a $400 bonus, which is cash money. I can use that anywhere. And then I'm getting 40,000 points to use on future flights. I get the best of both worlds. So I think this is interesting. I wish it wasn't end of the year offer because I think people are going for the companion pass. But if this offer comes around every so often, I think it's a really good, like my last card before going to over 524 because I can't really think of anything else I need. This is the best straight cash offer Chase has, which is kind of crazy to say.
It's super interesting that they've done this. Have they done this before? I don't remember them adding the cash component. And nobody sort of mixes up their bonuses as much as Southwest does. They have the companion pass, a temporary companion pass they've thrown in, different levels of the sign up bonus versus now adding cashback stuff. So it does seem like they're trying to find what is the sweet spot for attracting people. And maybe there's a whole customer out there that will only look at it because they're seeing the cashback, seeing that mix. And yeah, I think for the right person, this is good. Strictly if you were getting 80,000 points, you're getting a better value. But someone who's always has Southwest points just sitting there, I could see the value here. Just get the cash and run.
Yeah, a little inside baseball. I mean, how much do you miss like 10 years ago where the offers never changed? So we didn't have to update it on the back end and constantly do all this stuff whenever new offers come, update articles and be in compliance and everything. Oh man, I miss those days.
Yeah, somebody at Bank HQ is having fun mixing up all the little stuff for the offers, just trying to get people to do it. But it is a more mature space, and so we're seeing more mature offers, and they have all this data trying to figure out what will get you to sign up for a card and exactly how much money you're going to make them. It's really fascinating to kind of understand the behind it. But with that said, all the technology, AI, everything we have, this is the big innovation. It's going from, okay, you got 80,000, now you get 40,000 and $400. So I don't know if it's too outside the box as far as thinking goes.
No, and I think they're probably testing to see what does well, what like you said, what is more profitable to them. Does this spark interest more than a straight mile offer? We saw with the Sapphire Preferred offer with the $300 travel credit and 60,000 points, it didn't do as well, I don't think, or it wasn't as popular as like a straight 80,000 point offer. So I don't think people want cash back as much as they want miles and points. And maybe that's just in our macro environment in the greater scheme of things to just people that fly Southwest, it's a totally different thing. But within the miles and points community, people always want more miles or points. Cash is like a dirty word for some reason.
So more card offers for the end of the year. United has a ton of offers. The Explorer card, 60,000 miles after 3,000 spend. United Quest, 70,000 after 4,000 in spend, and you get 500 PQPs. The United Club card, 90,000 miles after 5,000 in spend. They also have some kickers if you add an authorized user. So these are slightly increased, but all these cards subject to 524. I don't know. I always think I know quite a few people who have the United Club card who enjoy their lounges. We don't talk about them often. You know, Delta has all their new lounges, AA, all the credit card lounges. But yeah, United has some refreshed, pretty nice lounges too.
Yeah, especially their Polaris lounge, which just doesn't get you into. But I've been to a couple of the Polaris lounges in the U.S. Not quite to the level of AA, first dining. My experience there, but they're very well taken care of inside those. I haven't really spent much time in the regular lounges, so I can't speak to that as much. But these are all like 10,000 miles more, which is nice to see. But we've still seen them go up towards 90K, 100K. So we're not quite to that level where I get super excited about it. I grabbed the Quest card a couple of years ago when I think it first launched, and it was higher than this. So I don't know. We see all these like Amex 250K, 300K offers. And then United just kind of limps in here with like, oh, here's 10,000 more miles. Let's see how it does.
Yeah, it's not great, but one other thing about United cards people should know is it does open up more award availability for you if you have these cards, and that is real. I've seen this many times over the years when I didn't have the card versus had the card. You can test it out. You really do get more availability for awards, and that can be a huge difference. Although they also have a no annual fee card that you can eventually downgrade to or stuff that also does that for you. So there's tricks with all of that.
I was gonna say that's crazy too, because it's not in the terms. Like you're not supposed to get that access with the no fee card, and you don't if you sign up for the no fee card, I don't believe. But if you downgrade to it, it's like grandfathered in somehow. But that's a great if you do fly United often. I think you do want one of these cards, or I think actually the business card is the best option for long term with the perks it offers, and because of this extra award space, it's really a big deal.
So let's move on to Hyatt promotions, and there's 4 new promotions, and that should get you excited, right? But none of them are particularly interesting or exciting at all. There's 25% off in Europe, Africa, Middle East, 20% off Asia Pacific, 3,000 bonus points for every night at a Hyatt Vacation Club, and then they have a 20% back on homes and hideaways, so you get 20% back on points on that. And yeah, what happened to the old days of just the points rebate across the board? Extra bonus points for every night at any hotel. Those were the days.
Yeah, the cardholder ones were, and every year it was like clockwork. We got that deal for several years, and then they took it away. And I'm like, come on, man, this is what everybody wants. Everybody loves it. I will say, like the vacation clubs 3K. Quite a few people had already had stuff booked during that time. Busy holiday season. It will work out well, I think. The home and hideaways, we were somewhat excited about that when it was rolling out, and then we saw what kind of value you get and how limited the amount of properties are. But maybe this like 20% back brings it up towards like 1.5 cents at some points, so it makes it an option when it wasn't before. So definitely worth looking into that. And then the 25% off cash days, every time they run those promos, it's not really a true 20 to 25%, because when you search without that code, the prices are different, which it seems shady to me, but it's more like a 15% discount. It's usually lower, but not quite what you think.
Yeah, and they often have member rates and other special rates for the hotels. So sometimes it's not even a savings at all. So when I see something like that, I don't really even think too much about it.
Think about it.
Yeah, it's always good to have it on your top of mind, I guess. And, let's hope for better stuff in the future. Marriott and Uber also offering 750 points for linking your accounts there. And this is that, traditional partnership we've seen Uber have with other things. And you should always do this. You should always link your accounts to earn points. You earn 3 points per dollar on premium rides, 2 points if you schedule an Uber X ahead of time, 1 point for a bunch of other stuff, and then even 2x, I think, on some Uber Eats deliveries and stuff like that. So yeah, might as well do that and enjoy the points. Good stuff. You should do it and reap the rewards.
We talked about the Starbucks 1,000 points for linking Starbucks and Bonvoy. So even if you don't have a use for these points, you can at least get a Starbucks coffee out of it eventually. So all these little partnerships, the little points add up. Remember the NFL thing that Marriott was doing during like one football season? I don't remember if it was like 2021. something like that, where if you answered a question, you got points. I ended up getting enough points from that for a free night at a low end hotel. So all this stuff does add up. Grab it while you can. It's super easy.
So Hawaiian and Alaska, they did the merger. We've talked about it ad nauseum on this and MTM Travel. By the way, Mark and I do MTM Travel every single week, Mondays on this channel. It's our long form podcast, more behind our lives, our travel, more fun conversations, stuff like that, where this is just more news. But we've sort of been covering the merger of Alaska and Hawaiian. And shortly after it happened, there were some problems with transferring American Express membership rewards to Hawaiian. That was getting blocked, and they fixed it. Well, I guess it happened again where they were just rejecting all the transfers. But good news, I think at the tail end, they fixed it and it's working again. So hopefully it stays good.
Yeah, it seems like every month something comes up like this, and it was Hawaiian's IT issues. They were actually blocking it, so you would transfer from membership rewards to Hawaiian, and then like a minute or two later, it would get kicked back, refunded to your membership rewards account. So Amex couldn't help you in any way. Hawaiian knew about it. Kudos to them. They got it fixed within a couple days. But this is just airline IT. We see this problem. So at some point, this little transfer train is going to go away off into the night. But we don't know how many more months we get of it. So if you're thinking of doing it, it's better to do it sooner rather than later because you might run into these issues at the end, or they might just say, hey, by the way, it's done. So you never know.
So we talked on MTM Vegas. I guess we're just plugging all of our other shows, but we talked about the new Sapphire Lounge coming to Las Vegas. They announced, Chase did, that it's coming in the middle of next year, but they made a lot of other announcements regarding their lounges, including a pop-up lounge for F1 at Aria right now going on for Sapphire Reserve card holders. So those are pretty good, but we also learned some opening dates of their other lounges, including the Sapphire Lounge at San Diego International Airport is opening December 6th, which is super exciting. And the one at Philadelphia opening early 2025. And Los Angeles is also coming soon. I don't think they put a date on that, but Vegas mid 2025. So a lot more of these Chase lounges coming online. I'm super excited because I think in Vegas, Capital One Lounge is under construction now too, finally. So we're finally in this world where these airports are having multiple credit card lounges and the lines are long, but hey, the spaces are there.
Yeah, hopefully this helps with that at some of these airports. And if you have Priority Pass, you don't have a Sapphire card, you can get into some of the Sapphire lounges, I think like twice a year, up to twice a year with your Priority Pass. So that's kind of cool that you still can get some access even if you don't have a Sapphire card like me. So that gives me a little bit more options. But these pop-ups are fun, like at Aria. We've seen them at sporting events and stuff. So I think it's always, offers you unique value. Amex does similar things too, which they just kind of nerfed their program along that, the ones that were pop-ups at different sporting events or stadiums and stuff. So it's good to see Chase lean into this. Capital One, we saw Citi apply for, trademarks for lounges. So maybe they're the next ones to come rolling out. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, I mean, airports have to find the space and they're competing. And sometimes these lounges aren't big enough because they don't have the best space. And now in some airports where you have 3 or 4 of these lounges, not to mention airport lounges and stuff, but Vegas is a good example. We have the Club, which is a Priority Pass lounge. Now you're going to have a Chase Lounge, Capital One Lounge. There's a United Club. There's the Amex Lounge. You're running out of space. So where is Citi going to put any of their lounges? I don't know, but yeah, it's good to see this. I'm super excited as a Sapphire Reserve card holder. So I'm excited to try these out. I love the Capital One lounges. Amex 10 years ago, they were the king of the lounge space, and now I barely ever walk inside of one.
Yeah, I don't even like going to Centurion unless there's no other option to me. I'd rather go to most of the Delta lounges over Centurion, which I might have gotten stoned in the street if I said that 7 years ago.
And now for some cool blobbing. How do you find this stuff, Mark? So this is a thing where you're on like an air bladder and somebody jumps and throws you. It could be across water, it could be across a thing. And I guess they have this all over the world. There's different, implementations of it. And blobbing has its own Wikipedia article, Mark. That's how popular it is. Talks about the history, when it was invented. Yeah, this looks so much fun.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in China. I could not find like any type of website or whatever to land on this one. I know they have it all over, but this indoor one looks a little bit more unique. A lot of times you see it on lakes and stuff. I think the first time I ever saw it was, do you remember that Heavyweights movie, Disney, like in the 90s, where they went to the camp with Ben Stiller and stuff? and they had the Blob thing, and everybody, went to fat camp but just stayed fat because they just were there to have fun and make friends. And I was like, man, that thing looks awesome. This looks crazy too. Going into ball pits reminds me of being a kid again before they took all the ball pits away for people peeing and pooping in them. I don't know what all the germs, everything. But I love that they come in a harness. Everybody's like, why are they wearing a harness? And then you see in one of the videos, another person wearing a harness is hooked up to a line where they like crane them out there, drop them down, and then pick the person up, hook to their harness, and pick them up. Because anybody that's been in a ball pit knows you can't easily get out.
I mean, anything that allows you to act like a child while you're traveling is a good thing. And this certainly falls in line with that. And now we got to find one that, what a cool one. There's got to be some cool ones in the U.S.
You would think. I'd love it. It brings me back to, like I said, childhood. Remember DZ, Discovery Zone, Leaps and Bounds, all that stuff, Chuck E. Cheese ball pits. Heck, didn't even McDonald's have ball pits back then?
Yeah, yes, they did. Going DZ at Discovery Zone, baby. If you're,
I swear, it looked like one of those girls was getting Superman right out of the ball pit, man. She had to come close to being flung too far.
So let us know if you guys would do that while traveling, or what other little kid activities do you seek out to relive your youth while you're on the road. The Spirit Bankruptcy, all of the card offers, Southwest, United, everything else we talked about, leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, this show and then MTM Travel, our podcast, on the same channel every Monday. So leave a comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.